As the moderator, interrupt for one moment. Sorry, Mr. Adams. But we have not heard from any of the fair sex in terms of questions. Are there any young ladies? Yes, madam. Would you please come forward and embrace me? I mean...
problem of how to pay for it, where farmers have had their lands, their cows, their homes, and under certain gentlemen, former generals, and people, there have been a rebellion that was put down. Do you feel, Mr. Henry, this was under the Confederation, that this could be solved somehow?
I think, yes, Shays' rebellion is to what you refer, and that is a strictly local matter. Nothing in the Articles of Confederation caused the local economy there to have any problem. It is the problem with little local incidences like this that many people, some to my right, would use to aggrandize the power of government as though government were a solution to the problem. The problem with Shays' rebellion was to be resolved locally, not by some magical document that gives so much power to the federal government that under a portly curmudgeon of a president
I can have you thrown in jail for that.
Could arrest, and many people did spend much time in jail as a consequence of your actions. And that is why I say that our liberties must be preserved. Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death.
Give me liberty or give me death is what he meant. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Henry, is it not true that you refused to go to the Constitutional Convention on the grounds that you smelled a rat, whom I do not see present? And also, Mr. Jefferson, is it not true that it was done behind your back deliberately when you were in France? And I wish you had had an opportunity for input. I wonder how much better it might have been.
Well, allow me, if you will, to answer first, or I may never get a word in otherwise. There was talk about strengthening the Articles of Confederation back in '84, and yes, many knew that I was interested in order to pursue an opposition to the strengthening of the Articles of Confederation. I mentioned earlier, I thought they were of a venerable fabric. They were wont, in my opinion, to provide a greater freedom, but I did realize they did not suggest a more efficient method of taxation or a more efficient method of electing the President of the United States. However, madam, though it was pursued 3 years after I took leave in '87, as I mentioned earlier, I kept in constant correspondence with Mr. Madison on the concerns of the Constitutional Convention. And he did send me that first draft, and I did send back to him my reply, though captivated by it. It did need a Bill of Rights in order to sustain it, because otherwise the Constitution is the ploy of any government in power. The government can use it for its own particular means and ends. But citizens, with our Bill of Rights amended to it, our Constitution and our government remains in whose hands?
Sir, you have a question.
Yes, I do, and I will not take very long to ask this question because I know...
You already have.
I know that you have children and grandchildren that you would like to get home to visit with. So let me ask my question quickly. Could it be that, is it possible for you to consider that perhaps, Mr. Jefferson, Mr. Adams, that within maybe 75 years from today, this government that you're forming now in place of the Articles could eventually lead to a situation where perhaps a lawyer from perhaps the state of Illinois may eventually become president, and with the great corporate interest of railroads and business, just might call for the volunteer force of 60,000 men from each state to cross that Potomac River and come down to the states below that river.
This is a short question.
And lead to the deaths of 600,000 Americans.
What is this Illinois he talks about?
It's merely a river west of Ohio. Don't worry about it.